According to the New York Times, the more time children spend in a good neighborhood, the greater the benefits they receive. New data shows that the environment within about a half a mile of a child's home can determine whether they prosper as an adult.
Zip codes are, to some extent, arbitrarily drawn, right? But they're based on census tracts, and census tracts were created by the Census Bureau as a way of breaking up counties, and they tried as much as possible to draw tract boundaries that reflected neighborhoods. Well, when we aggregate these tracts, we're capturing unique neighborhoods. And so we start to see, when you start to look at what does this zip code look like versus what does this zip code look like, yeah, you're going to have zip codes where most of the people who live in a particular zip code are affluent. They have maybe a lot of services, good transportation networks, and then you'll have other zip code areas where people are quite disadvantaged.
Smoky Mountain Youth Media set out to find the differences within Knoxville zip codes. 5 local teens help provide insight on their neighborhoods.
37912.
37931.
37917.
37917.
37921.
The way I would describe my neighborhood, I would say I would describe it with a lot of trees, because there's like a lot of greenery around there. A lot of houses, a lot of animals.
In my neighborhood, there's definitely a lot more older families than there are younger. Some families have been there for generations.
When you walk out my door, you'll see the houses are like medium sized. They're like they just built the houses and they're in nice shape.
If you walk out of my house, on the left is some apartment buildings, but if you go down to the right, you will see a lot more like nicer houses.
It's like really mainly townhouses, basically, in apartments.
We have restaurants, grocery stores, everything we could possibly need.
There's really not a restaurant near my neighborhood except for a nursing home. Other than that, there's really nothing else.
We really have like a lot of fast food restaurants and a lot of hairstyling businesses.
A lot of people walk to the library, Ingalls, sometimes to school. The sidewalks are pretty good. There's enough space for 2 people to walk on.
The road I live on doesn't have sidewalks, but the road that leads off into my road does.
We don't really have any sidewalks at all.
Sidewalks, we really don't have in our neighborhood. People have easy access to the greenways that are available throughout the city.
I don't think that my neighborhood gets the proper resources that it needs because the sidewalks are very cracked.
The neighborhood in general is clean. We do get city services with the trash and garbage.
I think the city does take care of us properly. When there's an immediate emergency, they do come out.
I think having a park that everybody can keep up with and everything closer to my neighborhood would be easier and better.
One thing I would change is like the violence somewhat in the neighborhood. There's a lot of stuff going on that I see on the news and it's just really terrible.
A business that would make my neighborhood better would be like a community center for volunteers.
I'm happy to be living in a good community and neighborhood.
Your local government makes decisions about a lot of funding at the local level, right? And then within government you have your school boards and you have your Planning and Zoning Commission. Those organizations have a role to play. So with planning and zoning, you have people in government who make decisions about a business or home or whatever can be built next to another one, and those decisions are often biased in favor of developers and realtors and bankers and not necessarily developed in the best interests of the residents who live there.
Reporting for Smoky Mountain Youth Media, I'm Nicole Cooney.